Hello everyone, Wastelanders and adventurers alike. I'm Caedo Genesis. This is the PIPCAST 3000 episode 110. I'm joined by my co-hosts, BADCOMPANYSARGE.
Hello there.
And Jared of Jawred Gaming.
Hi.
And this is a bi-weekly podcast where we talk about gaming news, and then our main topic, which is largely Bethesda-centric, but sometimes we deviate during the second half. Oh yeah, chapter points and links in the description, all that good stuff. First, I want to mention Happy Mother's Day to those who are the less than 1% of viewers that may be mother figures. Happy Mother's Day, I suppose. And I don't know, maybe serves as a reminder for those of you listening who are in the US, need to be reminded. Yeah, this comes out on Sunday, which is Mother's Day in the US. So, just your friendly reminder, go out and get those flowers real quick if you forgot. Or give your mom or mother figure a call. Just trying to be helpful. Anyway, how about we move on to the comment of the cast, fellas. Jared, you were here last episode.
I was.
So would you be so kind as to read one of the comments that we got from last episode?
Sure. I'll do the big one.
The big one?
Why not?
Not the long one, but the big one.
Hey, we should probably do both. Let's change it up,
Your call.
right?
Do it.
I'll do both. You can't stop me. Even if you try to edit it, it will still be there. Lord Fools.
That's not how editing works.
I know. Lord Fools said Caesar not being on the list is a crime. Having to do with our topic last PIPCAST?
Yes. Best NPCs according to the gamer. And then us talking about ours. We didn't talk about Caesar at all.
Yeah.
Or did we? Did we?
I don't think we mentioned Caesar.
Remember.
I think Jared mentioned Caesar because we talked. You were like,
is it Kaiser or is it
is
Caesar?
it Kaiser? Yeah.
Oh,
so
okay.
it came up, but I don't know if we actually mentioned him as a...
I mean, he definitely wasn't on the list.
He was not.
I'll be honest, I'm not sure if I'd put him in the top 15 NPCs of all of Fallout.
I'm with you. I don't think I would.
Are you disagreeing with Lord Bulls?
Yeah. Lord Bulls, we've read out your comment just to be like, no, you're wrong. No. To be fair, if you were like, oh, top 25 NPCs in there, I'd be like, Caesar's probably in there. But, like, Caesar's good, not great, is my take on it.
Yeah.
Fair.
I can go with that.
Okay.
So
Uber Nerd 3000
Yep, Uber
also
Nerd
says...
Oh, yeah.
Because we're doing both comments, Caedo.
Oh, yeah. Uber
Nerd with the umlaut above the U. I think that's how you say that.
Mm-hmm.
I agreed with almost nothing you guys said during the article read, yet still enjoyed listening to you say it. Way to be entertaining, guys.
I wonder if they mean, like, the gamer article?
Yeah.
Like, what we read out, what we said as our counterpoint, or both? Because if
Exactly.
it's both, that's a lot.
That's why I wanted to do both, because I kind of felt this one especially, but
I will take any compliment I can get when somebody's calling me entertaining, so
there's
thank
a
you.
lot of dots between there, though. It makes me wonder if it's sarcasm or something.
Don't question the ellipses. We got to take the compliment. Yeah. Thank you for the comments of the cast, Lord Bulls and Uber Nerd 3000. I don't normally read out two, but because it's Jared's fault and I'm not editing it,
It's one
without
for your.
talking
It's
about
one
it.
for moms for Mother's Day.
One for Mother's Day. You get you get to fight amongst yourselves. Who is mom's favorite? Anyway, let's move on to news. We got a little tiny, minuscule little morsel of a Starfield update on what's going on with the ESRB rating of the game, and a little paragraph of features that were shown in the game.
We have a rating summary, is what we have, which also gives some examples of elements within the game and lines of dialogue and stuff. And Do you want me to read out the full rating summary? Because it's not
Yeah,
crazy.
I think
Please
I think
do.
I've lost it at this point.
Please
like
do.
it's gonna sound better in the edit, but that was awful.
The official ESRB rating summary for Starfield is as follows. This is an open-world role-playing game in which players assume a role of a miner tasked with finding artifacts across the galaxy. From first/third-person perspectives, players interact with various characters, complete quests, and search for supplies while battling enemies, e.g. humans, robots, alien creatures. Players use futuristic guns, lasers, axes, and explosives to kill enemies. Combat is fast-paced with frequent gunfire, cries of pain, and explosions. Attacks on some enemies can result in blood splatter effects. Several environments depict bloodstains on the ground around corpses. The game contains some suggestive material in the dialogue, and after sharing a bed with characters, e.g., life is a sexually transmitted disease that's 100% fatal. I'm all for getting a little wild, but next time let's try it without the jetpacks. Talk about seeing stars! Phew, that was amazing! A fictional drug, Aurora, is prominent in the game, with a section involving players' characters working in an illicit drug lab. Players can also obtain Aurora by stealing or buying it from vendors. Consuming Aurora results in a distortion effect on the screen. The words F***K and Bull SH*T appear in the game. Yeah, so that's the rating summary.
Yep.
And there was a lot of reporting on it. The other things to mention as well, it's M17+, so mature 17+, has been rated as for blood, strong language, suggestive themes, use of drugs and violence.
Yes.
And it has in-game purchases. And oh boy, like I've told you everything. What you've heard me say is all of the details we have.
Yeah.
And you know people made 20-minute videos discussing this.
Mm-hmm.
And getting real angry. There's a few things, and apologies that I'm now just taking control
Should
of the
mention
topic.
too that the stuttering issue that I had would still not have us reach a 20-minute video form.
No. But like, first off, there were quite a few like written articles being, God, isn't the dialogue in Starfield terrible? Because of the cheesy sex lines, essentially. And it's like, we've already seen a bunch of Starfield dialogue in trailers and stuff, but there was a lot of like games journalism where people were like, these lines are terrible, and they're clearly supposed to be very cheesy kind of lines. This is after sharing a bed sort of thing.
Yeah, Bethesda does this. Like, this is not new.
Yeah, but there was plenty of, well, the entire game's going to be this badly written after we've seen literally 3 lines. And
Right.
as I said before, we have seen trailers and stuff where we see the character interacting and talking. We've seen some other lines of dialogue, which, while I can't think of any where I'm like, wow, that's amazing, we're all perfectly fine.
Yep.
Because regardless of, in the end, if the dialogue overall is seen as slightly bad or slightly good, most of the lines are just going to be normal and fine. That's just the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, people got really, or the journalists got really overboard on those lines. Just obsessed with them.
I think...
And,
Sorry. I was going to say, I think people are confusing this ESRB summary with an actual game summary.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, the ESRB summary is... I feel like it's more of, like, a liability list. Like, here's some things that may be that are going to be in the game. Now we are saying it so you know it's there and you are accepting it.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's 100% what it is. It's like they mentioned 2 of the swear words that are in the game. That's not something you'd get in a standard, like, review or summary.
Yeah.
Someone's like, hey, buy our game, we use the F word.
Unless it's Rage 2. If it's Rage 2, they'll do that in their promotional material. But we're past that point now, so you know.
Yep.
You have to wait till Rage 3.
Yes. The The other thing a lot of people got upset about is the in-game purchases thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are a lot of people going, oh my god, they filled it with microtransaction loot boxes. Which, isn't necessarily the case. In-game purchases means that at some point you will be able to buy something in the game with real money. That can be loot boxes, I guess, although loot boxes might be flagged as gambling now. I can't remember if that's the case or not. So it might not even be them. But it could be Creation Club, it could be paid mods in some other way, it could be DLC, it could be random battle pass, whatever. Like, it could be any number of things where you can pay money for extra stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It tells us virtually nothing. In fact, not seeing in-game purchases is unusual these days.
At this point, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And what if in-game purchases just means there's vendors in the game that you buy stuff from? Like,
That would be particularly cruel.
That would be a great twist. That they got all worked up for nothing whatsoever.
but I think it's a good example of like you said, people getting worked up. Like, it can literally mean anything until we actually know or get any kind of actual confirmation. Like, people just need to cool their jets, cool that jetpack.
And we know, like, it's a mixture of hype and taking every possible speck or crumb you can and coming up with, oh, what could this mean, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But we're not far from that presentation where we actually get to learn more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, less than a month.
Like, couple month, 1 month away, or
1 month. It's 11th of June.
oh my goodness,
Yeah, we've got less than a month. It's great.
I gotta give Will a timetable for when we want him back on. That's when we're gonna have him on again to talk about it.
I do want to say as one final note on the whole ESRB thing, another thing which annoyed me, which I've realised most of this podcast I'm going to be like, hey, here's something that annoyed me. So, if you don't like that, apologies everyone.
Yay!
But something which bugged me just a little bit was the amount of people I saw online taking stuff from this as like, oh my god, this has been confirmed, it's a brand new thing, we never knew about this. And like, no. Just if you've seen any of the trailers or stuff that's been shown, a lot of the stuff we know. I mean, I saw a lot of people with like the role of the miner tasked with finding artifacts. We've already had some stuff similar to that revealed. I don't know if we've had that exact wording, but like,
yeah,
that
the
also
minor
tells us
part was
basically
kind
nothing.
of new to me. Like that's the next, prisoner archetype.
Yeah.
You could still be a prisoner just on a mining rig. Like, that's still a possibility.
I mean, it's been revealed that we're like part of Constellation or whatever in like trailers and news press release stuff, whatever you want to call it. So I assume that's just part of this, and you are looking for stuff over the galaxy, and I guess you could mine for it. So yeah,
Yep.
but this is a thing where it's like it doesn't really tell us anything.
Yeah, that's
just like,
definitely not meant to either.
No.
Again, it's just covering their bases. I mean, that's all the ESRB is.
Yeah. I suppose the characters working in an illicit drug lab is probably the only bit of, like, guaranteed new information. But that's also fairly vague. Like, I can see this being another you can climb the mountain sort of thing, where people are like, oh cool, we're gonna get climbing gear and a dedicated climbing system and whatever thing they're gonna go with for it, rather than you can just get to the top of the mountain.
Yeah, like the extent of the drug lab thing could almost be like the mole rat wonder meat kind of scenario, where just like, oh, you can make, you can process the drug fish, where it's just you just taking a drug fish and putting it in a blender.
Yeah.
And then that's it.
I mean, it could literally be the Fallout chemistry station.
Yeah.
That's the full extent, like, yeah. But people have got to get, like, all excited about it for no reason.
Wait! They didn't say cannibalism.
Oh,
Good.
space cannibals, come on.
Space cannibals! Dang it!
You know they're gonna be there, because zombies and space just go together.
I know it, I want it to be a thing so bad because I know it's one of Sarge's weaknesses.
It's not one of my weaknesses, it's one of my community's downfalls. Like, my community overall is fine, but they have some serious flaws, and cannibalism is one of them.
Maybe an activity, we don't know. Anyway, review bombing is another activity that happens on the internet.
Yes, it is. It's bad. Don't review bomb. I mean, I'm actually working on a whole video about reviews in general at this point, and, well, looking into that, this thing came up, which is on Metacritic, Chained Echoes got review bombed, and no one seems to know why.
Yep.
Like, yeah, it went from a crazy high rating, I think, like high 80s, low 90s sort of thing is what it was generally at.
I thought they said it went back to 86, so I'm thinking 86.
Yeah, 8.6 they've got on here.
Or 8.6, sorry.
Yeah, I'm actually just gonna Google that. Wow. Yeah, high 80s, low 90s. Varies quite a bit per platform. Like, not tons, but yeah, varies a bit. And it got review bombed, and genuinely, no one seems to know why. I did some extra looking into this. I went through people's Twitters and stuff. No clue whatsoever why it's review bombed. Like, there's plenty of different reasons why people do it. I mean, the article says player frustration, politics, or because a crypto company bought your game as examples. But yeah, this is an instance where the developer doesn't seem to know. No one who's played the game, such as myself, seems to know, because it's a brilliant game. Like, I've played a lot of it. I haven't 100%'d it, but I've, like, 95%'d it, essentially. There's very little of the game I haven't seen. And I can't think of any reason to review bomb it.
Yeah. And this, I know for a fact, this is one of your, like, top of your list kind of games.
Yeah. This is the best game that came out last year.
You definitely want me to play.
Yep. I ended up actually starting a new playthrough, because New Game Plus isn't out yet, but I just wanted to play more of it, because it's really good.
Oh, nice.
I will say the Metacritic thing has now been, like, updated to remove the review bombing. So the tons of negative reviews that came in have been removed, but it's obviously annoying when you kind of have to make a fuss about it in order to stop it from happening. Because it just showed up, which is annoying. And I feel like recently we've seen a lot of harassment of devs and stuff too online. And while review bombing is not harassment, it's one of those similar fields of things where it's like, gamers are unhappy for some reason, and they're gonna express it in some way, and I guess review bombing's better than death threats to devs, but none of them are good. Like, if you want to give, like, an actual review of a game, you can go ahead and do so. You can give it a low review and explain why. But when you set up like a bunch of fake accounts to do it, or get a community together all just to post at the same time, that's not helpful. It's really not. And this game is amazing.
Yeah. And something, I don't know if we've already mentioned it yet, but these review bombs in particular did not have any reason added to the actual review scores. Like, there was no review to the review scores.
Yep.
That were made to bomb this. Like, it was just blank reviews with low scores.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as Sarge was saying, it's a good idea to, like, you know, actually review a game, not just give it a number score. Which is why, you know, review sites are still so popular and listened to, even though they can get ragged on pretty easily. People listen to reviews that are actually thought out. So, even though they're like, no, I don't listen to reviews.
I mean, I don't listen to reviews, to be fair.
Me neither.
But you do listen to other people's opinions, which can be reviews too.
I mean, yeah, I'll listen in like a conversation. I don't go, oh god, Caedo's talking about a game, and throw my headset across the room.
Oh, he's talking about Death Stranding again.
Oh god.
How long is it gonna be this time? Jeez. I understand. But yeah, yeah, it sucks when stuff like this happens. I hope Metacritic gets her stuff together, or just leaves it to like proper reviews to figure out their score. Like, but then again, I don't know. Users like having their say, but when the system can be gamed like this, it doesn't help anybody.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's also frick. It's like a catch-22 kind of thing. I'm working it out of my brain as I'm saying it. It sucks.
I've been thinking about it so much recently, like since the launch of Redfall, essentially. I've been thinking about reviews, and I've seen other stuff, and we're going to talk about another review thingy soon. But yeah, I've had so many thoughts on it that I've decided I'm going to make like a video about it, just because there's a lot I want to say, and I won't take over the entire podcast because this doesn't need to be 5 hours long. But yeah,
but it
review
could
bombing
be.
bad. If this is Caedo, 5 hours long, no.
Hold on, let me
even-
refill my drink again.
I haven't even decided if I want to live stream this evening. I'm so tired. You're like, let's go 5 hours, come on.
Yeah, Marathon Sarge, let's go.
So sleepy.
Well, something else that could make you sleepy
Oh.
after you play it a lot.
Mm.
Total War Warhammer
Don't
3,
like
sorry.
how that transition was going. Total War Warhammer 3 has just got a 12-month DLC roadmap. I like roadmaps, and I wanted to bring this up as a short topic just to be like, yes to roadmaps. It's exceptionally useful if you cover a game, knowing like, okay, at this point, roughly, I'll be going on to this kind of content at this point, there'll be this coming out, all of that. But even just as a player, it's nice to know, okay, at this point there's going to be some more content coming out, maybe I want to like schedule a weekend to play through it or whatever, or I've got this to look forward to. Like, it's nice, and this roadmap has like a few small bits, which is just like patch 3.1, 4.1, and 5.1, which is like the after we've done a patch, patching the stuff that goes wrong sort of patch, because you have to have those. But then it's just got summer, winter, spring, and just a little bit of information about what's coming. So like the factions that are being covered. In patch 4 in summer, we're getting a free legendary hero, looking forward to seeing who that is, some Immortal Empire achievements, race updates, general campaign improvements, settlement improvements. Like, it just gives a little information, and I get that as a dev you might not want to go too heavy on it and be like, yes, we're doing this exact thing at this time. But this, I feel, is loose enough that they can work with it. They've just given a like season time frame, which gives plenty of wiggle room. They've not given too much information, but still just enough that we can go, oh cool, here's some stuff that's coming.
That's kind of how... Isn't that how 76 did it a little bit?
I think 76 for the like big roadmaps tried to do a bit of the vagueness with it, but I feel like these days they do a lot more small roadmaps, which is like, here's what's happening every weekend.
Yeah.
Which goes quite specific into it, and is never anything too
I think
exciting.
Like the Wild Appalachia and Wastelanders update kind of... They kind of did that around that time.
Yeah.
But now they've kind of slowed down on them. I just hope in Total War Warhammer 3's case, because they have those windows, that they kind of keep them, unlike say like I mean I know 76 did it too, but Cyberpunk in particular is notorious for like their roadmap just shrinking.
Yeah.
Like every couple of months they're just like, nope, oh, when we get over here, nope, that's not happening anymore. And like the roadmap just became a straight line with no numbers whatsoever. Like it was a waste of visual graphic.
Delays are so common these days, but I think going for something a bit broad is worthwhile. I'll also say with that, with game releases, I feel like you shouldn't really announce a game's coming out until like 3 months beforehand sort of time. Announcing it too early is just gonna lead to a delay 9 times out of 10, it feels like.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So... yeah.
Should get more shadow drops like Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah.
There's more of those.
I don't mind games not being shadow drops because I do get that you want to build up a bit of hype and get pre-orders, even though I don't like pre-ordering, and I'd recommend everyone doesn't pre-order.
If it was like a prolific franchise, though, could you imagine the like outrageous response of like Fallout 5? Just bam, done. Like 2023.
Oh, you mean like Elder Scrolls 6, how we had
or
a
Elder
teaser
Scrolls
trailer
6.
Just to be like, hey, we're gonna be working on it, and everyone went crazy.
Yeah. But then they just shadow drop the game. Like the whole game. Everybody will lose their minds. And it'd be awesome.
Crazy. It seems like we get more and more just extended hype, and the hype dies away, which I'm not into.
Yeah, because those of us who are, have already experienced that quite a few times and been let down, are kind of over it.
Yeah. Like, I can say right now, I'm not particularly hyped for Starfield. Because we've known it's been coming out for ages, we've got a lot of details already, and there's just been too much time.
I like the idea of being hopeful that it's good,
and
that it will create a year's worth of content or more for my channel.
Yeah, I'd like to keep doing this as a job, and I kind of need Starfield to be good for that to happen.
But I don't think either of us would use the term hyped.
No, like that's too far away. I do like that they're doing like the Starfield Direct after the Xbox Direct thing, because that's like just under 3 months beforehand, which, like I say, is kind of the time frame I want to see. For the next month, I'm not going to be hyped, and then afterwards, I might be hyped. Hype.
I don't like hype. There's my 2 cents.
I was about to ask you, Jared, are you hyped?
No, I think hype, like, if and to use another term that just like is just an absolutely horrible term to use, especially in this sort of atmosphere, but toxic. Hype is like the most toxic of things, in my opinion. I mean, we've seen it destroy games before they've even been released.
Yeah,
the hype train, the whole idea, the ideal of the hype, of the hype train,
like even leaks leading up to things like that. That's ruined some stuff.
Absolutely horrible, and people should be ashamed of themselves. That's right. I'm your mother now.
Ooh.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. No, I don't like hyping.
I did see, because I've spent too much time on Twitter this week, what I thought was kind of a terrible... Yeah, I can't... Sorry,
bad
yes. One kind of terrible take I saw, which was, like, to do with the hype being built up in a negative way, was someone comparing Redfall and the new Zelda game, which we will talk about shortly. Which, first off, is a strange comparison.
Oh, they're super comparable,
games.
Obviously. But they're exactly the same in every way.
Role-playing.
The take was that Redfall was overhyped and therefore everyone's disappointed with it. Whereas the new Zelda game got barely any hype, so everyone's impressed and blown away by how good it is.
I think they got that backwards.
Yep, that is. That's
Zelda doesn't really need to be hyped, though. I mean, it's Zelda.
It doesn't need to be, commercially hyped.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it doesn't need tons of that. The community will build it up and be like, oh god, a new Zelda game. Awesome.
I was going to... Not just a new Zelda game, a new Breath of the Wild sequel.
Yeah.
Because Breath of the Wild was like the major game changer of the Zelda franchise that blew everything out of the water.
Debatable.
So, like... Debatable. Reviews speak.
Oh, I don't listen to reviews.
Sorry.
Yeah. You forget this, Caedo. Only 1/3 of us here listen to reviews.
I make up my own mind.
Yeah. But the vast majority of people that, talk about Breath of the Wild think it's amazing and one of the best games.
I'm trying to work out how much time we've got, because everything that's being said, I'm like, I've got a tangent I can put into this.
Okay, let me find you a number.
I don't need a number.
You don't need a number?
No, my opinion stands for my opinion.
I think the hype speaks for itself. That's the point I was making. We can go on to the next thing if you want.
I was trying to look for a transition, and there was one like 5 minutes ago. There's not been one since. You like pizza, guys?
I I love pizza. You have some?
Pizza's great. No, I don't.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Pizza's great. But what's not great is being killed by an animatronic. Five Nights at Freddy's!
I love this.
There's no transition, man. There's just none. I'm just going to read the title. Five Nights at Freddy's creator thanks fans for not watching leaked trailer. I thought this was cool. So a trailer for the FNAF film, I think it is? Yeah. Got a leaked trailer. The film's due out on October 27th. And yeah, the first official trailer was leaked. And the creator, Scott Cawthon, was really, really disheartened. That's a quote from him about it. Does kind of suck when a leak happens and you've worked on something and want to get like the specific release. We just had a whole tangent about hype and how too much hype build-up is, or essentially the longer the hype build-up, the worse it gets kind of thing, which leads to this. And yeah, he was a bit annoyed about this. It was frustrating, kind of spoiled the whole surprise of the trailer and stuff. But the community, by and large, went out of their way to try and be like, hey, let's not cover this. A lot of creators were like, not going to make videos about the trailer, not going to cover it at all. There were forums where it was being banned as a discussion point. And while there's obviously some people covering it and getting excited as there's always going to be, a lot of people have just been like, nope, not going to watch it, not going to cover it, not going to talk about it, just boom, let's just not do that. And I thought that was lovely.
When a community loves something a lot, it looks like they can accomplish something pretty nice sometimes.
Surprising.
Yeah. Very. Very. On the internet.
I think it's really nice as well, considering how much of here's the new thing, let's cover it and dissect it a stupid amount happens online, as we saw with like the ESRB for Starfield. That this community was like, nope, we can wait. We'll be patient. Let's do this right. It's lovely.
Yeah.
Movie better be good.
I hope it's good. I mean, there was the Nicolas Cage one, which had like animatronic sort of things and him not talking and punching them, which people seem to like.
Did they get Nick Cage for this movie?
I don't think so.
Then it's gonna be bad.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Every movie without Nick Cage is a 0 out of 10.
That's right.
It's Nick Cage, but he's reprising his role as the Superman he never got to be. But it's also Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh.
27 out of 10. Love it.
Oh, that's great. There's a Nick Cage sized suit somewhere, isn't there?
There's gotta be. Unless it's like cursed. And they burned it.
Yeah, that's possible too. Speaking of, I mean, we were just talking about Zelda, and now we can segue back into it. Sarge wrote something here in a paragraph, and then Jared and I added to it towards the end. Sarge, would you like to read this? What you said?
So this was while I was off and away, and I saw some stuff happening, and just. Normally our outline is we have like a headline title thing, like the Warhammer one was Total War Warhammer 3 gets a 12-month roadmap, then a link to it. Nice and simple. For this, it is as follows. New Zelda game is out, and Sarge got real annoyed at it being the highest rated game ever before it actually launched. I'm writing this before it came out, and dear god does it bug me that it gets marked as the greatest game of all time when it's only been played by a relatively small number of reviewers, mostly in a very restricted manner. I don't know if I'll still be annoyed by this in a couple of days, but we better be talking about this so I can get worked up on the mic. Jared, do you want to do your part?
Yeah, I just put little... Are those stars? Or asterisks?
Yes. Asterisks?
Both, technically.
They are both. And I said,
both.
Jared is also annoyed by this, I'm just not as vocal about it.
And Caedo also has something to say, probably.
Yep. So... I mean, that's technically all we need to say on the subject, but I did get really annoyed seeing that Tears of the Kingdom? I think it's called Tears of the Kingdom. I keep just seeing TOTK. But, yeah, the new Zelda game got, like, instantly reviewed as the greatest game of all time 2 or 3 days before it came out. And while I am aware that a small number of people did actually get their copies slightly early as well, just in the general public.
And
This was mostly just...
It's a smaller number than we assume, too.
Yeah.
Because
Although
Nintendo...
Tony got one.
Tony got one?
Yeah, it's
Oh
him
my
that I
God.
found out from that other people
Wow.
got a few. I
Well,
think he got
at
his,
least
like, a day
somebody
or
we
two
know
early.
did. Because,
Yeah.
good lord, they've been hyper aggressive at, like, people even showing footage that was approved.
Oh yeah, what's her name? Alana Pierce
Yep.
got banned from Twitch temporarily for like an hour and a half or something for showing approved Zelda gameplay. Which, yeah, is very Nintendo.
Yep.
Here's a trailer. Oh, you want to look at the trailer? No. Get
No.
out of here.
You can't. Don't look at it. Don't commentate on it.
Yeah,
It's our trailer.
some very Zelda stuff going on. But yeah, like, it really did bug me that this game clearly has not been played for very long. It's only been played by a very small number of people, and it's also, there was a chance of like a lot of reviews may have been made with review copies rather than finished ones. Like, I don't think that's the case with all of them, but I know there's been people who have played it like a month or so back, and that version is probably not going to be the same as one that's out today. Like, and outside Xbox, Luke Westaway, I watched his video of him talking about playing it, and he played it with like a Nintendo person basically standing over his shoulder being like, no, don't go that way, go over here.
And it was like a half hour of him being more like guided toward to what to do. And they had a show of the weekend for this weekend too, where they talked about they actually did, I think they did get early like review copies, but they couldn't talk about it until now, basically.
Yeah.
So
But no, it just really bugged me seeing the game being not necessarily even unfairly reviewed, just like, it's the greatest thing ever, we've just started properly playing it and there's only a small number of us. Like, I think I even tweeted out something like, I'm sure it's good, but being like, this is the best thing ever, and I've only scratched the surface, always rubs me up a bit the wrong way.
yeah.
Like, I feel like if you're going to rate it as super, super high, like a 100 out of 100 score, you need to have not 100%ed it, but at least beat the game, at least done lots of side stuff, like, give a little bit of wiggle room. But as it is, this is the greatest game ever, and that's just it. We played 4 hours. It's perfect. Bugs me. Grumble, grumble, grumble.
Yep. So that means we all gotta buy it, obviously.
I mean, I'm not going to, but I've never owned a Nintendo thing. I'm not going to start now.
Yeah. Let me just fire up my GameCube.
I can't remember the last time I used the Switch.
Put my Zelda on it. Yeah, I mean, Kite's got a Switch. I don't think they play it very much. They got a Steam Deck now, so.
That's the very reason I won't get a Steam Deck, because it will end up being just like my Switch, just sitting there and not getting used. I just know it.
Yeah. And I have, you know, a PSP that was gifted to me one of my birthdays or something like that. That it's like, and the games that I would have played on it too. Like, I have like HD versions of those games now, like Crisis Core, for example, that had the the remake like late last year.
Very mild thing as well. I've seen like screenshot comparisons of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and I don't know if it's just me, but Tears of the Kingdom looks slightly worse, visually speaking, like
Really?
HD wise. Yeah, maybe it's just the handful of screenshots I happen to have seen, but that was something which I've noticed, and I was like, that's kind of weird.
Did you see the latest Pokemon game? Like, it's supposedly built on
maybe?
the Breath of the Wild like structure, and that game was an absolute trash heap visually.
Yeah, trying to think, was that Arceus?
No, the one after that.
There was one after that. Yeah.
Oh god, there's so
Can't
many
even remember
Pokemon
what it's
games.
called. It's like a proper, I guess, proper Pokemon game, if that's even a...
Pokemon Scarlet and the Hidden Treasure of Area Zero?
Scarlet and Violet? Was it
Yeah, Scarlet and Violet. I don't know what the rest of it
Okay.
was. But supposedly the game was built on Breath of the Wild's like foundation. I don't know if that's true. I think I might have heard. I could have heard that from Eddie, he seems to get his information fairly reliable, I guess. I don't know.
Proprietary engine.
But
That doesn't tell me
regardless,
anything.
when you've got to, if I'm going to say anything positive about Breath of the Wild, it is a pretty game, and I enjoyed that aspect of it. And there's absolutely no reason why the Pokemon game couldn't have looked even half as good, because it didn't. It just seems like they're going, like they're de-evolving.
Topical. Nice.
Got him.
Take that, Nintendo.
Yeah. It's just funny that you would say that the new Zelda game looks worse than the old one, because it just seems like that seems to be their trend.
Yeah.
It's just
I mean,
weird.
on the bright side, the game's apparently only like 16 gig or so, and I do appreciate smaller file size games, especially with some games like, I think Call of Duty gets brought up a lot for being over 100 gigs.
It's like
Code
300 or 500 or something crazy.
It's ridiculous. I've seen a screenshot of someone with like an Xbox Series X with 2 games installed and like 99% of the hard drive space filled.
That's largely the benefit of having like an art direction that's, say, cell shaded, as opposed to high definition HD textures.
Yeah. But
I just said high definition twice, by the way.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Just
I picked up on that.
HD texture HD.
Yeah. They made the HD. Oh my god.
It's too much HD.
Something else that is not an HD is the Spider-Man 2 prequel comic for the upcoming Marvel Spider-Man 2 game. Marvel on their website has a free comic that is like the setup for the Spider-Man sequel game.
Cool.
I just thought this was a cool little thing. If you want to, spend about a half hour, 45 minutes reading through a comic book, getting ready for Spider-Man 2, because I plan on playing it, because Insomniac Spider-Man games have not been bad at all.
They've been amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man.
He said it. He said the thing. And oh my god, the big thing, I think it's safe to say we enjoy Fallout.
No.
Right? No?
Nah, it's alright.
Oh, dang it.
Franchise sucks. Don't get why people play those games.
But that doesn't
Well,
even get Fallout, bro.
Yeah.
Well, looks like episode 111 is going to be a solo act. Anyway, Tim Cain, producer, director, creator of, he has so many titles at this point, of Fallout. He has a YouTube channel that's been up for a couple of weeks now, or he's been uploading to for a couple of weeks now, and he's been dropping a lot of like history and memories and knowledge about Fallout and his other projects involving like Arcanum and his time working with Troika, as well as the Interplay days, just all kinds of cool stuff. But he does also reminisce on Fallout 1, and that one kind of ended up talking about like how he felt when Bethesda acquired the IP and how grateful he was that it was Bethesda that did it. So that's another Interplay person in the bag that's just like, yeah, not really any bad blood. It's just
No, Caedo, you don't understand. Bethesda have ruined everything, and they
sorry,
killed the
sorry.
franchise. They killed the franchise. Why don't you get this?
The thing that made me like grin was that he was not only talking about the things that he liked, but he also talked about the things that he would have done differently. So if you like a nuanced critique on, what Tim Cain thought of Bethesda's take on Fallout 3, you have some videos of him talking about that. And also how quickly they were able to turn around, because I didn't realize that they made the special system so quickly, because they weren't able to get the GURPS IP for or the GURPS rights to release Fallout 1 with the GURPS system, which is a tabletop system for those who aren't familiar.
Yeah.
They weren't able to get the rights for that, so they had to quickly change over to another like fundamental system for like their whole game to work, essentially. And they made I think what he called like modular systems or modular leveling systems, where they could just take a chunk out and then replace it with something else, and then it would all still work. So I guess I don't know. He explains it better, but it's cool. It's cool to think that they managed to turn around in like 2 weeks from GURPS to the special system we know now. He talks about the origin of dumb dialogue, things that you learned in Disneyland when it comes to like quest design and level design, all kinds of cool stuff. Highly recommend if you like learning about Fallout's origins and one of the original creators of Fallout. So I figured that was a good high note to end it on before we go back down into the gutter with our topic.
Yeah, the gutter.
Yeah, it me, man in gutter. I felt a little cheeky when I was thinking of just going off of one of the probably most common topics that I see most anywhere, but largely on Reddit, where it's something along the lines of, what is the best Fallout to start with, or what is the best Fallout? What Fallout should I play first? I'm very new to the franchise. Please help me. Something along those lines, right?
Yeah.
So I have a list here written down, so we don't lose our train of thought for too long. I'm mainly pointing my finger at me. And I guess we can systematically go through, and the people in the comments can join in too. Like, what if somebody were first being introduced to the Fallout series? What would you suggest to them to play first? Would you want them to have something that's more designed for a larger, broader audience and easier to pick up, like Fallout 4? Or would you be like, nah, you need the full experience, start with Fallout 3? Or I want to punish you, start with Fallout 1? You know, depending on, you know, the person's history with isometric games, kind of thing. So, Jared, would you like to start with what you would recommend and why?
Well, I think I have to preface saying that I think it really depends. It really depends on who you're talking to. Like, who's the person that's approaching me, and it's like, I don't know Fallout. Is it like my age? Is it my dad? Is it my, you know, my sister's kid? You know, because it's really gonna. I mean, it really gonna depend. It's gonna determine my answer, because like, because we've talked. I think it was either we talked about it or I was talking about it with Eddie. I can't remember. We're talking about expectations and how expectations of games have changed from like when we were kids to kids now, because we grew up with games that were more like Fallout 1 and 2, and now we have these amazing cinematic masterpieces, whereas kids nowadays have those cinematic masterpieces, so it's like it's impossible to please them. You know what I'm saying?
Or hard to go backwards, but I understand.
Well, I mean, like, if you don't, I think that, anyways, I don't want to rant on that.
No, it's fine. I think I might have caught that in like the Babbling Bros. So
yeah, it might have been there. I can't remember half the stuff that I talk about half the time. I guess if I'm going to assume, let's just assume it's like someone my age. I guess I'm not gonna say how old I am. No, I'm old.
Mid-30s.
It's a number.
Yep.
I'm gonna just say Fallout 3, because that's what I started off with. That was my first Fallout experience, was Fallout 3. I've never played the older ones before those, 1 and 2. I feel like, I don't know. I don't really have a good reason, though, because I like them all for different reasons.
Yeah.
I just feel like the only thing I can really go on is the fact that it's the one that I started with. And I feel like I still have fond memories of playing Fallout 3 for the first time and just being like, this is my new favorite game. I've never played anything like it. Obviously, Fallout 4 and Fallout 76 can deliver similar experiences because it's still Fallout. But I don't know. I guess my point of view is going to be very short because I don't really have a good reason for it other than the fact that it's just what I started with. You know,
I will say I think it's incredibly difficult to recommend just about anything to someone without having a large kind of suite of information to compile and analyze and work out from.
Yeah.
Because something I do is, like, within my sister's friend group, is there's a playlist, a YouTube playlist, where I add videos for everyone to watch. And working out what videos people are going to enjoy is so much harder than it first sounds. Someone comes up to you and goes, I recommend a video to throw on YouTube. Like, what do you put on then? And what happens if they want 20 hours worth of videos, but not long ones? They only want short ones, except if it's long ones that they actually do get into. And just, there's so many different things, and it's exactly the same with the games. You really need a great understanding of a person in order to know what would be the best recommendation for them.
For sure. And that's kind of what I was alluding to at the very beginning. That was the preface. It's just like, you really need to know who you're targeting. And yeah, I'm starting, as we're talking about it, I'm actually, and you guys might maybe be surprised, I'm kind of changing my answer to 76. And I have a reason.
Oh.
Because it has multiplayer capability. You can play with people that you know, you can play with your friends, and that's much more accessible, I feel. It might be easier for people who are used to playing with their friends to be able to jump into the Fallout experience with their friends instead of on their own. We did it because that's all there was. But maybe 76 would... Maybe I'm changing my answer to that.
I mean, if you're not from such a dedicated single-player background, then 76, I'd say, is definitely the entry point. If you're someone who plays mostly multiplayer and likes to play games with your friends primarily, then I'd agree 100% on that.
Yeah. Again, I feel like there's a but in there, like you said, not everyone's in the multiplayer. If you get someone who's in the single player, then obviously...
Also, the but is the that you eventually hit the end game wall, which...
Yeah.
You know, sucks. Whereas, like, in a single-player experience, you just hit the end of the game and you can start again.
That's
Some
true.
people like the endgame grind, though.
That's
I'm sure we've all seen the people on 76 who have levels in the thousands.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
It is quite a niche to fit in there, but I know there's some people who are super... Like, if you're someone who's super into, like, your MMORPGs or your grinding of just skill levels... and stuff like that, then 76 is probably the best for that thing. And especially if you're not someone who likes to restart with a new character and go from the beginning. Because I'm someone who loves, like, restarting characters. I very rarely finish RPGs more than a handful of times, but I'll start them about 100 times over because I'm like, oh, I can do this kind of character. But if you're the opposite, then, yeah, a lot of them won't be as appealing. Because some of the games as well, like New Vegas... You beat it, turn the game off now. You've seen the endgame cutscene. That's it.
Yep.
So what you're saying is Fallout Pinball's where it's at.
Yeah.
Endless hours of fun. Fun is what I said. And even though it's still, you know, a pinball machine add-on, not a proper game. But
can't believe Caedo just said something so elitist right there.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Pinball not a proper game.
Pinball is...
Jeez.
I just can't remember the title of the actual pinball game. Because I have it. But it's not called Fallout Pinball in my library. Pinball FX2. And it has a Fallout pinball machine.
Yeah,
and a Doom one, and a Skyrim one. How about that?
It's Fallout 10.
It's got Bethesda ones. If it's somebody who is in our age bracket, they have the tolerance for early 2000s games or late 90s games. If they had experience with other isometric games like Baldur's Gate or something along those lines, I would recommend the classic Fallout 1 and 2. Maybe even Tactics if they want to get a little crazy with it and try some real time strategy mechanics in their Fallout game. But I would probably also go to the Fallout 3 route.
Mm-hmm.
If they had, that prior knowledge again. Because Fallout 3 did such a good job of, and I've said it so many times at this point.
Say it again.
I'm saying it again. Immersion. Also, introducing a whole bunch of Fallout concepts the original series took 2 games to do. In such a way that was easy to understand for new players to the series. Like, it had super mutants, it had the Enclave, it had the vault that you grew up in, it had a small scale resource war type of situation. It had a wasteland, a bleak feel kind of stuff. Like, it felt like it had just about everything you would expect to find in a game called Fallout. And also paying homage to like where it came from while kind of trying to do its own thing.
I'm gonna be contrarian.
Yes.
Go for it.
So, this is a story I've told a few times on the PIPCAST now. I started with Fallout 3. It was my first Fallout game.
And you hated it.
And
Sorry.
it sucked.
Sorry.
God, it's so bad. I mean, you're not
finished your
far off. I really didn't enjoy it. Like, for me, the opening of Fallout 3 is not fun. I didn't really stick with it. Didn't enjoy myself. Then I went into New Vegas and had a lot of fun. Like, and the key thing was a faster opening. I don't like games which have really drawn out opening sections where you're very limited in what you can do and just kind of have to plod along. Like, I enjoy getting into the action nice and quickly. And New Vegas, I wouldn't describe it as like a fast opening game, but you go through the Doc Mitchell stuff, you go through the opening cutscene, then you kind of get into the world and can do what you want. Like, there's a bit of time there you're spending, but it's not crazy. Whereas Fallout 3, the vault section is really long.
You are a baby, and then you're like a 10-year-old, and then you're a 19-year-old. Or sorry, then you're a 16-year-old, and then you're a 19-year-old. Something along those lines. Like, you go through your whole life, your whole early life, basically, whereas you're just a guy or gal in Fallout New Vegas sitting in Doc Mitchell's office, and you go through 2 rooms as opposed to a whole vault. So...
Yep. I'd say New Vegas, if you're playing it for the first time, within like 10-15 minutes tops, you're out in the world and can do what you want. Fallout 3, you're looking at half an hour.
Yeah.
Like, if it's your first time in there, you're going to want to explore a bit. You're going to go into rooms that don't really mean anything. You're going to want to listen to all the dialogue. Like, it's going to be long. And that did not sit well with me. So for me, New Vegas was a great starting point. Because it's... I think on the list it's one of the fastest starting ones. I think 76 now would actually be better on that, because you literally just... You start in a vault, then you go outside, and the entire game's open.
Yeah, you don't even watch a slideshow. Like, you walk by it. You can just you can just sprint to the door if you want.
Oh yeah, you don't need to pick up anything. It's great. It's like a minute from creating character to leaving the vault. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's great.
But yeah, for me, New Vegas was a great start, and because I enjoyed it so much, I then went back to Fallout 3. And these days, I'd rank Fallout 3 over New Vegas, but for a starting point, I'd flip them around again.
Interesting.
Wow. So what about somebody who comments like, "I've been watching your guide since I was a kid"? What about those people?
Well, that means they're relatively young. I mean, it depends what you define kid as, because, I mean, technically I've been watching your guide since I was a kid, I guess.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Hey, remember, I'm young. It's fine.
You are.
I was technically a kid a decade ago, so... It's not as bad as it seems.
I wish I was.
This makes me feel things.
Mostly upset.
mean, if it makes you feel any better, I woke up this morning with back pain.
That
so
does make
I'm not
me
that
feel a
young.
lot better, actually.
Yeah.
Now that's relatable.
I feel like, in general, if you're speaking to a younger person and you don't know what sort of games they've been playing, you'd probably want to go with... I'm going to say Fallout 4. I'd put Fallout 4 as the entry point for someone of the younger generation. Because I feel like everyone's fairly familiar with first-person shooters and how they work. Half the Fallout games play in that same sort of way, so they've got points they can move on to with the more multiplayer progressing to 76, or more story-based but worse controls going to Fallout 3 New Vegas. And Fallout 4 has a mid-length opening. I think the opening to Fallout 4 is one of the best the first time you go through it, and then one of the worst on subsequent times.
Oh, definitely.
Which is a real shame.
Because it's got a pre-war section, which is pretty sure it's the only game to really do that, like outside of a vault, anyway. I think, pretty sure, which is cool.
Yeah.
But also lengthy, and then the vault section also.
Yeah. I feel like the vault section on its own is fine, but after you've just done all the pre-war stuff, it really feels like it's dragging on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's only really, like, 3 corridors and 3 rooms sort of thing. I think that's literally it.
Because of the whole, like, voiced protag and characters, like, having more of a stake too, kind of thing.
Yeah.
They want to draw it out for drama's sake.
Yep.
For the story. So
you know what? I'd argue as well that the voice protagonist thing works for a first playthrough as quite good as well, but for following playthroughs not so good.
Yeah. I can see that.
I know there's some people as well who don't like reading at all in video games.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it may seem weird to us, but if you didn't grow up with your RPGs with text boxes coming up for all player dialogue, then you might be like, why am I reading what everyone's saying? Why aren't they just speaking it?
As someone who did a full Fallout 2 playthrough and read most of the dialogue, I can say I understand. Because I read it out loud.
Yeah.
And edited it to make it sound like I did it perfectly every single time.
Of course.
So that does make sense. Yeah. Fallout Brotherhood of Steel. Give that to your worst enemy. That's the only use for that game.
That's for the really edgy person out there who's trying to make a point and be different.
If I did see, okay, so one of the things that I did see in the subreddit that was hilarious, and they didn't know exactly what they were saying because they haven't experienced it yet. I strongly doubt they have. Is they were like, we need more metal music in Fallout. That's the kind of person you want to give Brotherhood of Steel to prove them wrong.
Their name is Kyle.
Yeah. And they drink Monster.
And they
all
punch
the time.
holes in the wall.
Like they should not be alive. They drink so much Monster. So Fallout Tactics, that's the weird outlier. Like if you started consuming like all that Fallout has to offer and you just want more, that's when I would recommend Fallout Tactics, because it has some cool stuff in it, like, drivable vehicles that you can actually, drive around and run people over with and stuff like that. But it's also got the real-time mode that was primarily used for testing, and they just left it in. And it controls like an RTS, but you can definitely like shoot your own squad a whole bunch by accident because it's that way. Whereas in turn-based mode, obviously they won't, because you'll be telling them where to shoot. Let's see. Shelter? I don't know, it's free.
Shelter's also a mobile game.
Yeah.
Which I think is quite a big advantage. Like, if you're not wanting to, like, really put in any big time commitment, but want to like see what the whole Fallout thing's about, I'd say Shelter's your best bet, because you can just install it on your mobile. You don't need to pay too much attention to it. Just like, oh, I've got 10 minutes before the bus shows up or whatever. I'm literally just talking about what my life was like 5-6 years ago.
When you were a kid.
No, when I was a young adult.
When you were a little baby. Little baby Sarge.
Yeah, you can just kind of jump into Shelter. It's got some nice stuff. Like, it's not a big Fallout game, and I think a lot of the reason why Fallout fans, I'm saying that with air quotes, don't like Fallout Shelter is that it's not a big RPG, and not like in the 76 way where people go, it isn't an RPG, it had a bad launch. It's like, it's genuinely not an RPG. But it still has some like nice references to stuff, can get you kind of acclimated to it all.
You said references, and that was my little light bulb. Okay, so it has a reference to the mechanics you can expect in Fallout 4 because it was released right before Fallout 4. Yeah. I got downvoted for talking about this in the subreddit, by the way. But it introduces you to some of the base mechanics that settlements have, with keeping your settlers happy and all that junk.
Yeah.
Which that was the thing that I said, and people were just like, "No, this guy's wrong." It's just stupid. But also, I wonder if it has this kind of weird reverse effect where, because Fallout Shelter has a lot of character references, like some of the Vault characters, like the unique ones, are just story characters from the Fallout franchise. I wonder if it has a similar effect if Shelter is their first game and then they go back to like Fallout 3 and God forbid they're like, oh, it's Dr. Lee, that kind of thing.
Best character.
or like, hey, it's Preston Garvey when they hit Fallout 4.
Second best character.
Yeah.
Which I would much prefer. Just enjoy Preston Garvey. Dr. Lee sucks.
Yes.
Like, that's
yeah, I really enjoy that whole reference journey, and I've had that with the Final Fantasy franchise. Because not necessarily the first Final Fantasy I played, but definitely one of the first, and the first one I beat and played extensively is 9. And Final Fantasy 9 is often described as a love letter to the franchise. There are references to every Final Fantasy game that came before it. Just so many references packed in there. Such a crazy amount, with the names, different characters taking on different roles, all that kind of stuff. Just like so many little tidbits here and there. But as I've played more and more Final Fantasy games as I go on, I'm familiar with a lot of elements or characters or just themes and items. But I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And you know what? Even Chained Echoes. Chained Echoes has a Final Fantasy reference with Genji gear. There's Genji gear at the start of the game, and I was like, oh my god, I've got to work out how to get this. And it's nice when you can play the game which references all the other stuff, because then it gives you like an added hook for the other games. And I think Shelter does that for the Fallout franchise.
I find it amazing that you managed to bring it back to Chained Echoes just so you could talk about it.
Chained Echoes is brilliant, and everyone should be playing it.
I think you need to play it again, Sarge.
Yeah, I'm genuinely debating whether I stream this evening or just play Chained Echoes.
Yeah, 70. Man, we had some fun playing 76 together.
Yeah,
like even before some of the major content dropped. Like when it was like when we were almost like pioneers in Appalachia. Like that was some of the most fun I had in 76. Yeah, like
I genuinely think so many people missed out because they were like, "Oh, 76 is terrible. I'm not going to play it."
Yeah,
but I'm going to do some more shameless self-promotion here.
Do it.
There's the Beta Buddy series on my channel. There's only a couple of episodes, but it's got Caedo and I just playing in the 76 beta together.
And Kite was in the second episode. Yeah.
We also, like, something I would almost never do these days, but we did then, was almost everyone had area voice chat on.
Yeah.
That was just the norm at the start of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really cool. Like, one of the segments in our video is us finding a random person, squadding up with them, and them finding a Snallygaster that got glitched in place and being like, "It is my pet. I pet the Snallygaster." And it's just there's so many lovely things like that.
Yeah.
Which at 76 at launch happened all the time.
And so many things were
brilliant.
also just completely busted.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna be coy about that part either. Like, there was some broken stuff when we were playing, but also we got to experience the brokenness together.
Yeah, I've got people in my community who talk as well about how, like, from kind of the start of the game up through Wild Appalachia and stuff was some of the best times, because it was a very dedicated community of largely very positive people as well, all looking to, like, solve mysteries in the game and figure stuff out and just play together, which was lovely. And none of you get it now, because 76 is no longer as hated as it was. Although, I saw a tweet the other day being like, 76 still sucks. Cyberpunk had a great turnaround, but 76 is garbage.
Funny.
They had Cyberpunk and one other game as well. I can't remember what the other game was. But yeah, they listed a couple of games which had, like...
What was it, Metal Gear
some
Survive?
level of...
I'm
I
sorry.
can't remember it. It's really annoying. And obviously,
Had
it's
to
not
have
someone I
been
thought.
No Man's
I'm ready.
Sky, right?
I'm ready to.
See, I was thinking No Man's Sky, but I was like, that feels a bit too obvious, because I remember the choices all being really weird.
Okay.
Anthem.
You know what? I don't think it was Anthem, but I feel like it was that vibe of, like, a game which you wouldn't think of. But yeah, that's...
Okay. Well, what game do you recommend to your grandpa or grandma?
I like where your head's at, because that's where I was gonna go next too.
Yes, we have the same.
If Skyrim grandma Shirley Curry was coming over, and you're just like, I gotta introduce this lady to Fallout. Which one?
I mean, we have Fallout Pinball on the list. My granddad did make a pinball table. So if he was still around, I'd probably go for that one.
Nice.
Monopoly, obviously.
Man, I don't think none of my grandparents are still around. If one of them were still around, I'd probably go with... Oh, man.
Well,
You say it as well.
You have-
Sharon
Shelter.
already said it. Don't you say it.
Shelter?
So
Or,
close to bursting.
it's probably Shelter.
Shelter.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious because I don't know. You have it written down Fallout board game. Is there a specific board game that Fallout has that's just like a dedicated?
There's the Fallout board
There's
game.
the
yeah, it's
okay.
yeah.
I don't know anything about that, so
I think I played it like once. And we have that too, I think. I don't remember anything about it.
see, board games used to be like all the rage once upon a time. You know, Clue, Candyland, stuff like that.
I have so much to say.
Snakes and Ladders,
Oh,
Mousetrap.
Mousetrap's actually quite fun.
That was fun.
It's
Life.
a gimmick game, but
Life.
oh my god.
I really want to know, like, are you angered by these options, or are you just,
so angered.
you don't
These are
like
terrible
these
board
games?
games. These are most of the games you're listing are terrible. Board games are going through like a. It's been described as a renaissance recently with games like Cosmic Encounter, Fiasco. Coup's a bit of an old one, but that came to mind. Say Anything. Like, there's so many amazing board games being developed right now. Hell, I'm making board games and I'm really proud of them. Would love to get them like properly made someday. But yeah, there's so many good board games. But obviously, everyone in the past has grown up with like Monopoly and Clue/Cluedo. And you mentioned Candyland. I can't believe you brought up Candyland. A game which you make no choices in whatsoever.
It's a
you know
it's a
what I'm
game for
doing?
children, small children.
Oh, it's for little babies.
Yeah.
Little dumb babies.
Little
Got
dumb
no brain.
babies or dumb. Never mind.
I'm sending into the group chat a video called Candyland, but somehow worse.
There's drinking involved.
Yeah,
Looks
they,
like there is.
Boy.
Candyland is a game where there's a deck of cards with colours on them, and you move your piece according to the colour you draw. That is the entire game described.
Yeah.
You never make a decision. It is decided as soon as the deck is shuffled who has won. There is nothing you do. It is the worst thing ever.
I want it to
And
be,
think about how many bad things have happened in the
I
world.
want to make it clear. I'm not
worse.
suggesting these board games because I like them.
I get that.
I just don't know many other board games.
Yeah.
I haven't played a board game in a long time. Risk? Is that acceptable?
I don't think Risk is very good. Risk is better than a lot of the ones you've said.
Those are like the only board games I think
monotonous.
I ever played as a child, and I haven't played any since.
Stratego?
I'm not familiar with Stratego, but it's not one of the classics because I'm going to assume it's alright. I feel like, in terms of board games which are like very well known and also quite good, Settlers of Catan is probably the one everyone knows, which is actually a decent board game.
I hear good things.
I mean, I was done talking about it. Catan's good. I don't think it's amazing, but I think it's like a good benchmark. I will say if you're getting into board games, I'd recommend Ticket to Ride. It's very good, like, entry-level Euro games sort of thing. It's simple to get a hold of, but as you go, you realise, oh, okay, there's some interesting mechanics. And I kind of get behind all of that. There's also the more gimmicky party game things, like Trial by Trolley, which are very good if you just want to have a laugh. Cheese Thief is a lot of fun as well.
What is Trial by Trolley? Is that the trolley problem? Just like
yes, it's
lots of
Cyanide and
modifiers?
Happiness.
Oh,
Are you familiar with Cyanide and
Yep.
Happiness?
Yep.
Yeah, the company Explosion made a board game where you just have to do a trolley problem and you add cards in to try and make the person choose the opposite track. So you're like, oh, if you run over my track, you're gonna hit an orphan with the cure to cancer. You don't want to do that. Oh, but then someone puts Cthulhu, Destroyer of Worlds on my track. You've got to stop him, and that's the whole kind of gimmick.
Yeah. Now I just want to watch The Good Place.
There's a lot of very good board games, is the point I'm getting at. Monopoly is one of the worst. So, the point where I fully realised that my sister's friend group is not the sort of friend group...
Wait, we need to talk about this in the context of Fallout Monopoly so we can slightly veer back towards the topic. Is that possible?
Fine. Go ahead.
Okay. Fallout Monopoly is Monopoly themed in Fallout. It also has, the spaces where you would see like Boardwalk and Marvin and whatever. Those are actually taken over by actual settlements in the Fallout universe, not just in the Bethesda Fallouts, but also in the original Fallouts, like Arroyo and Klamath and Redding, which is pretty cool. Anyway, go on.
Monopoly is a trash game for trash people.
Cool.
Dang.
And one of the worst things my sister's friend group I ever heard them say was that Monopoly was like, there's too much strategy involved.
Wow.
And they just wanted to like roll the dice and go around the board and not think about it. And that was depressing to me as someone who loves like proper strategy board games. And yeah. I came up with improvements to Monopoly as well. Because you roll 2 dice. If you want to add in some decision making, you can instantly just make it. You don't move the combined amount. You have to pick which dice. That instantly just makes the game like 10 times better because you get to make some real decisions. Because otherwise you just roll and it's all luck based. There's no incentive to trading because there's almost never a good trade going on. The game lasts forever. It's got player elimination, and because of how long it lasts, you can just be sat there. It's trash. It's a trash game.
I'm gonna go change, or have the tag for Monopoly on Steam change to Choices Matter just to piss you off.
Oh, oh, that hurts. That hurts to my core. Oh.
I hope Life Sim is added too.
Yes, of course.
Awesome.
Monopoly is garbage. If you want good board games, there are so many out there. Like, I think the website, is it Board Game Geek, that has like some of the best board games, and they talk about them and stuff on there. On YouTube, I highly recommend No Rules Barred. They're what I've been getting my kick on, because the unfortunate things with board games is, 1, they're expensive, and 2, you need people to play them with. And as already established, my sister's friend group is not probably the best group for that.
Does Cards Against Humanity count as a board game?
Kind of. Like, the board game tag has it's like the Venn diagram thing, where like card games and deck builders and all the other niche stuff kind of intersects with board games. It depends how strict you're being with the definition, really.
Gotcha.
Some people will be like, you need literally a Monopoly-style board, and everything else doesn't count.
I would say yes in the sense of, like, how easily does it get your friends together to play a game?
Yeah.
And Cards Against Humanity has definitely done that for me and my friends. So
I haven't played it in so long. I would love
I mean,
play
same
that with you
here.
Like get Tabletop Simulator, fellas. Play some Cards
or
Against
apples to
Humanity.
apples,
I
or
have
like
Tabletop
we have
Simulator.
we have a Deadpool one that we've never used. I don't think in my living room.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I'm going to be the elitist again and be like, I don't think Cards Against Humanity is that good. I don't hate it. I'm not going to go on a Monopoly rant here. But I think it's kind of the let's be edgy sort of game. And I feel like it overstays its welcome
that's the brand.
quickly.
But it's really only as edgy as you want it to be. You don't have to be edgy.
No, I will say I played like
that's
almost
like
variant
saying
of it.
that's like saying you don't have to be a cannibal when when the game's dangling it right in front of your face.
Well, what I'm just saying is like, you know, like when I think a lot of people or some people, maybe it's just me, and making the mistake of in Cards Against Humanity, like the first time you play it, choosing options that like make sense, but those aren't really the funny options. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you want absurdity.
You want absurdity, but like when you first start and you're just like, oh, this makes sense in my head, therefore I'm going to win, but you don't because, you know, the other your buddy next to you played a card about, you know, Jesus and playing corn cob and doing some other things or something, and you were just like, well, mine made sense. So you don't have to be crazy. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
There is, I think it's Apples to Apples.
Apples to Apples is the clean version.
Yeah, I actually ended up enjoying that more.
I've never heard of it.
Because I feel like there's less incentive to be, oh, here's the rudest word, and instead it almost leans more into the absurdism and stuff.
It lets you, or if you want to be absurd, you have to be a bit more creative with Apples to Apples, which is kind of great too.
Okay, I'd be down to try that too.
I played it with like, I was about to say the right hand side of my family. That doesn't make sense. No one else is picturing my family tree.
The starboard side of your family.
I know exactly what you mean, actually, Sarge. I know exactly what you mean.
Perfect. Yeah, I played it with one side of my family and actually had a lot of fun, despite that group not being the side I like hang out with much or anything. Like my brother managed to get like.
Sorry. That was a slightly longer pause.
Okay.
Not the family I like.
I mean, I could have said that, but I don't like any of them, so that's not descriptive enough.
Oh, okay. Except for your sister.
No,
Your sister's pretty cool.
She's alright. I mean, she did say the Monopoly thing, which I won't forgive her for.
Okay.
No, my younger brother managed to bring out like a sexy communist line in the Apples to Apples thing.
Wait, you have a younger brother?
Yeah, I've got 3 siblings.
What? Okay, go on.
I have a lot of siblings.
I feel like we just unlocked an achievement. Yeah. Learning some more Sarge information. One of these days, I'm going to get your name.
We've only known each other for like 5 years. Oh, Sarge has 3 siblings?
Yes.
Wow.
I am. A fun little fact is I'm the eldest, youngest, only, and middle child.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
Yep.
pressure to be in many places at once, like string theory.
That's how I describe how complex my family tree is to people.
Man, if Stephen Hawking was still around, he'd have a field day with you.
You'd be an anomaly, Sarge.
No. My point was just that because it's not trying to be the edgy version and it's a clean version, when you get something that's a bit closer to the edge in any way, it hits so much harder.
Nice.
But,
Yeah.
I feel like I have very much stolen this conversation to talk about board games.
I think I got separated out to board game conversation.
Yeah.
Because this has gone on for a while.
I will also ask, before we do wrap it up, just for you two and for the comments, would you class games like Mafia in the board game genre? Or what would you class them as? Are you too familiar what Mafia is? Mafia or a werewolf? Same thing.
The only thing I can think of when you say Mafia is like those really horrible mobile games.
Oh, I'm aware of the ones you're talking about. No. I'm talking about the social deduction in-person games. And annoyingly, I went with the two most common ones. No. You're not familiar with Werewolf?
Mm-mm.
Oh, I'm familiar with Werewolf.
There we go. I'm going to ask Caedo, can you describe Werewolf? Because I can't think of a way to describe it.
One person is it, and the other people try to find out who's it.
Oh.
That is the most simple way, yeah.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Cool.
There's like Salem's Lot. And...
It's like hide and seek, but everybody's at the table.
Yeah, or something like that.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking
The
about.
best version of those social deduction games is Blood on the Clock Tower, for anyone wondering.
Oh. You heard it from the man himself.
Man. Okay, do you guys want to resume the conversation with me not talking for a bit? Because I will talk about board games for hours. Genuinely.
It was my mistake putting Monopoly and board game in the list of things, because...
No, it was not your mistake.
This
I mean,
brilliant.
As soon as Caedo put them down, I was like, they're staying there, you do not delete them.
Or my success,
So
I
much to
don't
say.
know, like, but it definitely... I wouldn't say derailed, but it railed a different direction.
I'd rail some board games.
Which, yeah.
Weird.
How do you grind them up? Never mind.
Anyways,
I
wow.
mean,
Let's.
have you guys never seen Dixit?
What?
It's a good looking game.
I don't know what you just said, but I'm turned on.
D-I-X space I-T. Dixit. Oh, if anyone out there wants to chat with me about board games, much better conversation starter than video games, I'll be real.
Aside from snorting board games, what else are you playing or doing, Sarge?
Hey, we've moved on.
Is that moving on?
Yes. Yes, we're moving on, please.
Okay.
I mean, besides that, I have played a couple of video games. Not many, though, because board games are better, let's be real. But Redfall launched. I think this is our first episode since Redfall launched.
Yep.
You may have noticed we've not talked about it a lot, because it did have a bad launch.
Yep.
It... Not as bad as the internet made it out to be, but that is how the internet goes. It's like, if things go badly, they're the worst thing ever. If things go well, they're the greatest thing ever. See Zelda. Like, literally, we've had Zelda and Redfall launch within a 2-week span, and they've become the best thing ever and the worst thing ever, because one of them's good and one of them was bad. That's man, the internet, man. It's poor. Yeah, I played a bit of Redfall. I haven't played it since the patch, actually, so I'm curious how that works. But it did have like some lagging issues, some stuff like that, which made it less enjoyable. I'm hoping the patch will have fixed that, maybe? I really hope so.
I
'Cause
played
on
it
PC
since the patch.
And...
Oh,
that's no good. It's not fixed, I'm gonna take it as that far. Yeah, the performance issues are a real problem, because I've got... I know people who have played it on Xbox, like my friend Jay has covered it a bit on Xbox and had a lot of fun, because it just runs fairly well there. Like, there's the occasional issue, but most of the time it's running perfectly fine and just works well, which is good to see. And when it does work well, it's just a fun game. Like, it's no masterpiece, but it's like, yeah, I enjoy going around and shooting vampires. That's what I want. But yeah, unfortunately, due to the PC performance issues, it got ragged on big time. But yeah. But I've also been playing Apex Legends. I mentioned last time that I was playing it, and I had one more achievement to get to like max them out or whatever. I got that achievement before the episode was out.
Nice.
I got it between recording time and when the episode was out. Although I won a game with the explosion character, and then I had to play 5 more games before the achievement actually showed up. Which had me quite annoyed for a while. Because, like, I did the achievement requirements, and then it was like 20 minutes later, but it actually popped up saying I had the achievement, which was annoying. But I played more of it, and I've been doing fairly well, and it's just fun. It's a good battle royale game.
What?
Yeah. I know not everyone likes battle royales, and typically I'm not huge into them, but it's solid, it's well made, it's very polished. Respawn is just very good at first-person shooters, quite frankly.
Yeah, we had to move on to something else after Nuclear Winter, you know?
Yeah.
Because man, that was a battle royale that happened.
Nuclear Winter was real fun as like a super casual battle royale. I think that's the niche it kind of had, but there wasn't much of a demand for it within the 76 community, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I played it once with you guys.
You did.
Yeah.
It was fun.
And I ran around with a shotgun like a crazy person.
You did.
And it was so much fun.
And I recorded it, and it was great. Check out Caedo's highlights.
Bam.
Ooh. Those are the 2 games I've been playing. I've been dog sitting all week, so I've not really done much. I spent my time on Twitter getting annoyed at the human race, so...
Just gotta stay off Twitter, Sarge.
Yeah, well, I'm back home now, so I've got my own catered Twitter thing, which just says the people I'm following, rather than random people screaming about how everything they don't like is terrible. That's it for me. Who's next?
Jared.
Shall I?
You played one of my favorite games, so...
Yeah, I know.
I think you should talk about that.
I will. I recently have been going through my library of games that I bought and never played, just because that's what you do. You buy games and you never play them because they're on sale or whatever, for whatever reason. And the first one that I played after completing Star Wars Survivor, which was a pretty fun game too, but not on the list because I haven't played it since I finished it. But I played Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, which, yes, Caedo has up and down been recommending this game to me for on several occasions, and I like I said, I've owned it and it's been sitting in my library and I just never got around to it, and I got around to it, and yeah, it was a heck of a good game. I'm looking forward to the sequel.
You got through the whole thing?
I got through the whole thing. I got all the lore
Nice!
stones.
Oh my god, you fought bosses?
Yeah, but I don't know. It was pretty simple bosses, though. These are like not. You don't really have to like memorize like a attack pattern. It's pretty much just block and then attack until they die.
Yeah, true.
So it didn't quite reach the I'm not playing this because boss fights is horrible stuff. So, but yeah, I enjoyed it thoroughly though. I really dig Norse mythology, and yeah, it really had me wanting to play like God of War, the new one, but I don't have a PS5, so I can't.
Yeah.
So that annoyed me. And then I decided to go play Shadow of the Tomb Raider because I wanted something to play, and I hadn't played that either. And I really dig the new Tomb Raider games series that they've been doing, and so far I'm enjoying this one as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it though.
Well, awesome. Well, like Sarge, I also played Redfall, but more recently. It's a game with vampires in it.
You are correct.
I think that's accurate. I still don't know if I like it or not.
No.
I had zero motive. Like I found the not like they're called like grave keys or something like that. Like the one
grave locks.
The grave locks. I found like the one possible thing that I would want to ever make a video on if I decided to. And I picked up one and I was like, no. And there was some aspects besides like the glitches that I ran into, because there was plenty. The gameplay was fairly straightforward, but then I started getting by the time I got to the second area of the game, which was a pleasant surprise, mind you, because I thought the boss of the area that you start in was the final boss.
I am very glad to hear there's a second area,
I
because I have not made it that far.
I am so glad I was wrong.
Yeah, I was super concerned that,
yeah.
like, oh my god, this map is tiny. Don't tell me they're all
there's
just in here.
there's more to it, thankfully.
That's good.
But one of the things that kind of like weirded me out a little bit was how they did the like mission cutscenes. You know what I mean? Like they had like still images that were just kind of like gliding over each other kind of thing. Like that was super overdone. Especially when they did the intro to multiple safe houses at this point. They did the building safe house montage type of thing. It way overstayed its welcome.
It does feel like each of them is like 5 seconds longer than it should be. And that adds up so quickly.
We get it like within like 3 seconds. Like we understand what is happening because we've seen it so much in open world games now.
Far Cry franchise does it really well. I think 5 and New Dawn have like maybe 5-second long cutscenes where they like tip over a barrel, raise the flag, someone looks cool, and then you're back in the game. It's like the perfect time limit in which to do it.
And I'm pretty sure, since we're talking about Ubisoft, I'm pretty sure they do that in like the Assassin's Creed games too. Some form of like that kind of cutscene. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of over the taking over outposts cutscene too. Like just in general, because Dying Light 2 also does it. I'm just like, after you see it the first time, like I wish it just auto skipped, like, because I get it, I understand. Just give me, like, if you need a loading screen, just do a loading screen. You can skip
them still, right?
Yeah, you can, but I wish there was an auto skip.
Yeah.
For them, because like you get it the first time. But I don't know why that was like the first thing I became kind of like irrationally annoyed at. This is like all of these, like I felt myself like almost drifting off to a nap when I was listening to my character talk to the other characters that I would love to see like actually, you know, moving and acting in the game. Not like or just give me like a stylized like comic strip kind of thing, like not whatever it is now. But I will mention that some of the legendary weapons are kind of cool. The one that they give you like right off the bat, it's like the barnacle covered shotgun kind of thing. That's pretty sweet. I kind of am getting tired of the loot chase too a little bit. Because while I do find some pretty cool legendaries, I'm still not max level, so I need to throw it away eventually and find a new one. And I saw the complaints about the enemy AI, like sometimes they're really, really, really stupid, which is accurate. But other times, like especially the cultists, the ones that carry the guns around, are either not hitting you at all or all hit you at once.
Yeah, the cultists and like Bellwether lot are so much more dangerous than any of the vampires. Like the vampires are like walk in the park. You literally walk away from them and shoot them as you do so. The people with guns are lethal. It does feel like it needs a few more patches before we should all play it together.
Yeah, I'm also playing as Devinder, like, and I also really like his mobility, but I don't know if he's the right character to play solo. I'm not sure. Like, I'm wondering if the one with the engineer girl with the robo dog,
Remy,
I wonder if she's better at solo play. Also, C4 is fun.
C4 is fun.
I don't know. I'll have to find out. Anyway, that should be like the only thing we talk about. Because I talked about it way too long. I played a game called Strayed Lights. I learned about it through Austin Wintry. I heard that he did some composing for that game, and I was like, oh, this looks kind of interesting. It's an indie action game that has focus. You're playing as a a fire elemental type of character. It's very minimalist in its like interface and stuff like that, only telling you the things you need to know. But it's got like a parry system and like a color changing system, like you change from like red to blue depending on what the enemy's doing.
Yep.
And then you parry and stuff like that. Other games have done a mechanic like this before. It was all right. I didn't get all the way through it because I learned that it wasn't really my thing. I just kind of wanted to support it, so I did. But I gave it a try. And
That's good.
something we also gave a try was Dead Island 2 co-op, which Jared and I may try again at some point. I hope so anyway, because I can't refund it now.
I hope so.
Because I want to get a little ways through that game and see how extra juicy and maybe cringy the dialogue is.
Yeah,
We'll see.
Just gotta pray for that healthy internet connection.
Because I tell you right now, it does not have the mobility and parkour of Dying Light 2.
No.
So I hope Dead Island can deliver in the character jokes and acting part, because that's one thing Dying Light 2 is lacking. Is characters I actually like. So give me a couple characters I like, and Dead Island 2 will be another zombie game that I recommend. That's all. I'm gonna probably shorten that quite a bit actually in editing.
That's fair.
Any final notes, gentlemen?
Play board games.
Yes.
Play
Brought to you by
Monopoly. Play Clue. Play
Oh,
Candyland.
God, no.
Play Jenga.
Hey, there you go.
Message Jenga's alright. Dread's even better. If you want a tabletop RPG,
Oh, here we go.
that has like some real skill elements. You can play Dread, which is rather than rolling dice like you would in Dungeons and Dragons, you have to pull Jenga blocks off, and if you make the tower fall, your character's going to die.
Okay.
Interesting.
It's a lot of fun as a
You know, I
console.
have two favorite Jenga blocks, and that is Wasteland Legends Sven and Rose. My God, I'm gonna edit this so hard. Thank you, everyone, for watching and listening, and I hope our rambling from the best fallouts to start with to board games was nice to listen to. If not, I don't know. Look forward to next episode. Thank you so much. Take care of yourselves and have a safe week. Happy Mother's Day. Bye-bye.